On the 16th of August 2020, in the late of the night, 31-year-old Ryan Kelly scaled the security fence at the El Dorado Aquatic and Fitness Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. This outdoor water park features 13 different pools, a fitness center, and 2 large water slides. No one really knew why Ryan did this. It was completely out of character and bizarre to his family. After climbing the fence, Ryan spent some time swimming, and after swimming, decided to go on one of the slides. It still isn't quite clear what happened next, but Ryan somehow managed to climb into a support pipe which was used to support one of the circular slides. Detective Brian Reynolds said, "It wasn't an easy feat. The pipe is the center support for the superstructure, holding that circular slide, so he had to climb up, and it took some work to get down in there." Ryan was now stuck in the narrow pipe, and was heard screaming for help at around 12:20 AM on the 17th. Ryan was heard by a police officer who was on patrol over 250 feet away. According to the officer, the pipe projected the man's voice like a megaphone, which urged him to enter the park and search for Ryan. He called for backup, but at first it was hard for them to locate him. When they finally did, some time later, they talked to him for an hour as they dismantled the support pipe. One police officer said, "He soon became unresponsive and was tragically determined to be deceased. It then took several more hours to dismantle the structure to the point that the body could be recovered." Sadly, at around 3 AM, the police made it to Ryan, but as they feared, he had tragically passed away. The mystery into why Ryan entered the pipe to begin still remains. His family and friends were equally as confused, as this was completely out of character. His friend described him as sweet, kind, and full of life. According to his Facebook page, he was happily married and living in a suburb of Phoenix. After the incident, they were taunted by trolls writing cruel comments on their social media. I hope the family get their answers and are doing better today. Did you know that in 2021, there were 29 cases of people being trapped within grain bins, and 11 of these cases resulted in death? When someone falls into a grain bin, the flowing grain can act like quicksand, causing people to sink very quickly. In March of 2024, 94-year-old farmer Robert Wayne Smith was working on his family farm in Tabor, Iowa, unloading soybeans whilst his son was close by moving a semi. When his son went in to check on him, he was found dead. Robert had fallen into the beans, had been trapped, and drowned. A few years prior to this, 69-year-old Dennis Ray Richer became trapped inside a grain bin. His concerned co-workers were unable to free him and called the police, and rescuers spent hours trying to free him, but sadly, he passed away. According to the police, when someone falls into a grain bin, it's very difficult to free them. It requires a tremendous amount of force, and they said, it's much more than is needed to rescue someone from underwater. The tidal mudflats in Alaska are big areas of land by the ocean that change with the tide. They're made from the mud carried by rivers into the ocean. These flats are important for animals like birds and fish. The water level goes up and down a lot, so sometimes you can walk on the mud, and other times it's covered by the water. The tidal mudflats in Alaska can be dangerous if you're not careful. One big risk is getting stuck in the deep, sticky mud. It's easy to sink into the mud, and it can be very hard to get out. If you don't drown in the mud, the tide can quickly rise, causing you to drown by the water. This is exactly what happened to 20-year-old Zachary Porter of Illinois. In March of 2023, Zachary Porter, a college student from Lake Bluff, and his 3 friends were walking in the mudflat of Turnagain Arm, south of Anchorage, when Zach got stuck in the mud. Turnagain Arm is a stunning and dynamic tidal inlet located along the Cook Inlet in Alaska. It was 5:52 PM when Zach got stuck, and his friends quickly called for help. Alaska State Troopers arrived on the scene and found the group 100 feet offshore. They called in the Girdwood Fire Department, who were no stranger to people getting stuck on the mudflats. Unfortunately for Zach, however, the water at Turnagain Arm has one of the fastest incoming tides in the world, and whilst the fire brigade were on their way, Zach was swallowed by the water and drowned. Every year people get stuck in the mudflats. The fire department said, what looks like solid ground can quickly turn into quicksand with little to no notice, and they urged people to stay away. His body was recovered from the estuary the following Monday, and his father said he loved wandering around and was a brilliant role model to his younger siblings. His sister said, he was one of the most kind, compassionate, hardworking, smart, driven, well-rounded people I know. The number of friends that are completely devastated by his death is really a testament to what a big heart he had. and how many people he impacted in his 20 years. In December of 2010, 54-year-old father of 3 Alan Catterall was working at a Cheshire kayak making factory when a horrific incident occurred. His job that day was to clean plastic from inside of the giant oven. In kayak manufacturing, ovens are commonly used for various purposes, such as curing fiberglass or composite materials used in constructing kayak hulls. These ovens provide controlling heating environments necessary for curing resins and materials, ensuring the kayak components achieve the desired strength, durability, and shape. Alan had got to work and started clearing the plastic when the door shut. Unbeknownst to his co-worker and future son-in-law Mark Francis, Alan was not done cleaning. Mark then proceeded to switch on the oven and the temperature started to rise. Due to the design of the oven, once switched on, the door automatically locks, saving energy. Alan began banging on the walls and the door with a crowbar and screaming, but the noise he made went unheard in the loud factory. During this, the walls and floor heated up quickly. A few minutes after the oven was turned on, smoke was seen coming from the oven door, which prompted the factory workers to open it. Here they found Mark's deceased body. He had suffered severe burns and had died within 10 minutes in the oven. Martin Haywood, the investigating inspector at the Health and Safety Executive, said, "The doors were set to automatically close whenever the electrical supply was switched back on, which meant there was a high risk of someone being trapped inside. There had been no risk assessments, and staff had not received suitable training on how to use new ovens, and there were no written instructions on cleaning and maintenance." The judge blasted the managing director, Peter McArath, who oversaw the design of the oven, and blamed him for negligence. Investigators also found out that Mark Francis, who had turned the oven on, had no experience or formal training on how to operate the oven. In 2014, Parantha Mouldings were found guilty of corporate manslaughter and fined £200,000. The managing director of the company, Peter McArath, was convicted on 2 charges and also fined £25,000. Our last case takes us to Yorkshire. In June of 2007, the United Kingdom saw massive rainfall, causing the city of Hull to have one of its worst ever floods. It was Yorkshire's wettest month on record since 1882 and would go on to see 9,000 homes and businesses flooded, leading to thousands of pounds worth of damage. On the 25th of June, 28-year-old Mike Barnett had travelled to his workplace on his day off to help his elderly boss keep the floodwater out of the shop. This truly shows Mike's character, and he was described by his father as a man who would do anything to help other people. Once he arrived at the shop, he decided to clear out a drain outside of the shop. It had been covered in debris, blocking the water from entering. He made his way slowly to the drain, which was hard to see as the water was now up to Mike's knees. Suddenly, the force of the surging water propelled him forcefully against a metal fence that had been temporarily put against the storm drain. In a horrifying turn of events, Mike's leg was gruesomely snapped as it became wedged between the railings. He was now trapped, and his boss called emergency services, who arrived at the scene in hopes to free Mike. The rescuers battled between themselves trying to figure out how to free Mike. They were unable to get the metal gate off due to the water, and when they tried taking it off, Mike would be sucked under. Witnesses said at one point, he went under the water for 20 seconds, as divers were unprepared and still putting their equipment on. As the water began to rise, they didn't have much time. His leg was well and truly jammed in the gate, covering the storm drain, and the only way to get Mike out would be to amputate his leg. The rescue team called a surgeon who made his way to Mike. When he arrived on the scene, the water was up to his lips, and a police diver was holding his head up. The doctor checked for vital signs, but found no pulse. He was advised not to go ahead with the surgery. He said, "It would mean I would need to go underwater and perform any operation underwater. I would need the help of the diving team, and the diving team told me at this stage it was not an option." Mike sadly passed away after 4 hours, his cause of death being hypothermia. His devastated father heard the update on the news and recalls the moment it was read out on Sky. He said, "I saw it pop up on the screen that the man who was trapped in the drain had died. I remember thinking, oh heck, not another one who's trapped. It didn't occur to me at that point that it was Michael. But sadly it was. After the incident, emergency services were criticised for not doing more to free Mike. His father claimed that they should have known what to do straight away, rather than bickering amongst themselves. Mike's father wanted the images and video of his rescue to be released to the public, to support his claims that it was a badly managed operation. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, and if you appreciate my work, subscribe, and if you want to go the extra step to support the channel, maybe consider becoming a member. Let me know what you think about these cases in the comments below, and if you want me to do more videos like this, let me know. As always, thank you for watching.